touching on the top prop bets in the NBA today. All right, so starting out with the France game, we got Killian Hayes going over 13.5 points. For those of you that don't know, this is going to be kind of a home game for him. And with NBA, narratives like that tend to hit more than they don't. Just that extra motivation kind of leads to them going off. Now he's minus 130 to get the over, which not perfect odds, but it still is about 55%. We will take that, certainly. So Killian Hayes, kind of the narrative. I like that. The one issue with him is that these two teams met earlier this year and he wasn't on the court that game. He was out. So I wish we could have a better indication of kind of the matchup, if that makes sense. But no, he should certainly be a great bet today. Just looking at it as well, though, there's an interesting bet that DK Sportsbook sees as a better bet. So they see him getting under the assist at 7.5, minus 135. So with this game, we're really not getting that many great odds. It's more or less trying to bet on how the game's going to go. And just looking at the game over and under, it is a game that is expected to be higher scoring, but also it could potentially be a blowout. And we can see Killian Hayes here with the last few games. He's been very close to getting the over here. But would need two more assists with the sixes. Okay. So, it's up to you what you want to do with that. Okay. He's been close. At the same time, probably going to be shooting the basketball a little bit more today. So I was really trying to find a bet to pair with Hayes in this game. And really the only good one I could find that I felt really confident about was Nikola Vucevic over the points, rebounds, and assists. Okay. We can see he's been like right around that the last few games. He is projected minus 140 to get that over. So those are the best odds that we are getting for that early afternoon game. Okay. And really thus far on this whole slate. So that's kind of shocking to me because logically speaking, this should be a good matchup for him to go off against. So Jalen Duren is currently questionable. Okay, he might sit. There's something with his passport, and also he's coming in off of an injury as well, so he might sit. Would lead to more minutes for Isaiah Stewart. Basically, what I'm trying to say is they're going to be down another big man, is what it seems like. So should just be a little bit easier for Vucevic to go off. Now, the only issue with Vuce is that the last time these teams met, went for 19 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists. So just shy of the over that we need to get. That's the biggest reason why he's not like a lock and load, I guess. At the same time, that game was a game that blew out 132 to 118. So he didn't get the final few minutes that we would need him to get to really ensure that he's going to get the over. And with the spread looking like it's looking, that could very well happen again. That has been really the biggest difference between bets hitting and bets not hitting lately is when the game blows out. So that's for you to decide. So if I were to do a bet, it'd be Vooch over points and Killian Hayes over points as well. You could also maybe do the assist if you chose to go that route. And so I've already went ahead and placed a bunch of my bets for the day, especially with PGA starting up. I felt like there's an edge there. But if I were to go ahead and place a bet just for basketball, it would be this one right now. So Killian Hayes over points and Nikola Vucevic over points as well. So the next bet that is looking like it could be a decent bet would be Klay Thompson under 3.5 rebounds. So just looking at the game, once again, the worry would be that it could potentially blow out. Celtics are favored by 6 points. It is projected to be a higher scoring game. Looking at it, this is just one of the better bets that we're getting on paper, minus 135. Really not that many good odds out there this morning. And we can see he's just consistently right around that number, whether it's 2 rebounds or 4 rebounds. He's just consistently kind of right at that number. So it does feel like if we were making this bet, we'd be forcing it in a little bit too much. And I don't particularly like that. Okay, so it's a bet that if you wanted to add another leg onto a parlay, you could. I don't like that route. But sure, if you want to add it onto the Hayes and Vucevic one to just kind of boost your odds a little bit, maybe do that more on underdog, you could do that. Not the approach that I particularly love, not the bet that I particularly love today. And now another one that is favored at minus 135 is going to be Jason Tatum under 4.5 assists, which to me, just looking at the game log, it is going to be close to that. Now, obviously, I can't control the boards in the mornings, so we kind of just have to go with the bets that we have in the morning. And if they adjust, maybe we just cash them out. If we don't feel as good about them as the day goes on, just cash them out. And that could very well be the situation with Tatum and also Klay. Okay, a decent bet. Not something I love. Now, the next one is going to be one that I like a decent amount, just kind of due to him not doing well the last game. So another bet that I like tonight is going to be Harden over 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So the big thing with this is that he's coming off of that night in which he burned a lot of people with the Taco Tuesday, only scoring, 4 real-life points, maybe 6 by the end of the night. It wasn't pretty for James Harden. But honestly, he was probably just due for a natural regression game, and it just happened to come during the Taco Tuesday. It was very unfortunate. But looking at it, like up until that point, he had been someone that had been highly consistent, just getting over that number basically every single game. So to me, this is going to be a great spot for him to jump back on him. matchup's going to be good. And that's the biggest worry with this bet, I would say, is going to be the matchup. Now, it's currently projected to be a close game. I personally think this game does have the potential to be a blowout. Now, if it doesn't, obviously that's great. Obviously, then someone like James Harden should be able to hit the over here. And it is a game that is projected to be a higher scoring game as well. DK Sportsbook also has this set at -130. So tack on the fact that he's coming off of a bad game. You expect him to, have a better game now. Just kind of how that works. DK Sportsbook is also saying that, hey, this is kind of a nice spot props wise, and that the game is supposed to be close and a higher scoring game. That all adds up to James Harden being a pretty good bet. So this one actually just dropped. They just dropped the fantasy scores. Lillard over 47.5 points actually just seems to be very good, just kind of given the same reasons I just mentioned with James Harden. It's expected to be a close scoring game, high scoring game. Damian Lillard's been on a tear. If those all are true, Lillard should be able to go off. And then looking at James Harden fantasy score as well, that could be another approach to go with. They kind of both correlate together pretty well. Points, rebounds, and assists, and then fantasy score. And then for what it's worth on the early games, like if you're trying to do fantasy score, Zach LaVine over, and then Bogdanovich over as well. Okay, bets. Okay, those literally just popped up as I was trying to get into the NHL bets. So looking at the shots on goal props, these are actually some pretty good ones that we are getting today. They are all going to be under, which, as you guys know, I just don't like betting the under. It's just a personal thing. I feel like I have a better, mindset for hitting the over, for betting the over. But at the same time, it does seem like betting the under in NHL when it pops this much is not a terrible route to go. So looking at Tony here, and all these NHL bets are going to be -140. So if they're set at -140, they're giving us about a 58% chance for this bet to hit. So Tony, less than is what we'd be shooting for. And we can see it has been, pretty much less than the last few games. We would take that. And they already took away one of the bets I was going to give. So we only have two, unfortunately. So we're looking at the under shots on goal here for John at 3.5. And once again, this is at -140. So about a 58% chance that he gets the under. Don't love it. We can see the last few games been very close, if not getting over. So 3 shot attempts in the 2 games that he didn't get the over. That doesn't make us feel comfortable there, okay? But the odds for Tony to get under, that's just difficult to pass up on. And then the odds for John as well. Those are just 2 tough ones to pass up on. And the one that they pulled was right here, was David under 4.5 shot attempts. So it was at -140 as well. So maybe they put it back out there and we can add that bet. And then for what it's worth, if you wanted to do a golf bet, these ones should be still available by the time you are watching this video. But they're also very much long-term bets, okay? And I've made a bunch of these already with some NBA bets that hit yesterday and whatnot. So I'm just kind of taking the wait and see approach right now. Someone like Harris English is not a bad bet to make the cut. So what these bets are holes played. And this tournament has 3 rounds before the cut. So what it's saying is Harris English going to make the cut? And if I look at the 9 to 5 cheat sheet, the database, it's saying Harris English has about a 63% chance to make the cut. We go to someone like Christian Bazoon out. He had a terrible start. And I know this is getting a little bit too far off for just PrizePicks purposes, but he had a terrible round in his first round back from competition. These golfers had like a 3-month vacation, and a lot of their first events were either last week or this week. Bazoon was terrible last week. He is someone that had been a stud up until that point and has a pretty good made cut percent. So if we're getting the Bazoon that we were getting, should be able to make the cut. Ricky Fowler has a pretty good made cut percent as well. So in theory, there should be an edge here with, some of these bets with Harris English, with Ricky, with Bazoon Hout, probably with Todd and Troy Merritt as well. Okay. And so those are slight edges we can get there. And I know with the golf bets, if you guys made some of those yesterday, it's a long wait and see approach. And I know that kind of takes away from the fun of kind of PrizePicks in general. It's part of the process, right? Just trying to make the best bets you can possible. And that's kind of why I do the show this way. Now, I do think I'm going to come out with an underdog and like DraftKings video combined, where I go game by game and break down the top DFS plays and then try to figure out a way in which we could bet on that with a 3-leg parlay, because obviously on underdog, you are better suited off to do a 3-leg bet there than you are on PrizePicks because it pays out more. So I'll try to figure out a way to come out with that content as well. All right, thanks for watching. That's all I have for you guys on this video. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.